Yeah, so it's great to be back. And yeah, so as to share a little bit about our experiences in Asia, and obviously very, very important market for us. And you know, just like there isn't a European market, obviously there isn't an Asian market. So I mean, that's kind of like the first thing that we all need to understand. But if you look at kind of like what we've been doing at Rovio, so actually our first office that we opened outside of Helsinki was actually Shanghai, and I think that's already says quite a bit about our focus on Asia. That we didn't open our first office outside of Finland, like in the US or you know, somewhere else, but we actually opened it in China, in Shanghai. And then we have also opened offices now. We have an office in Tokyo, we have an office in Seoul, in Korea, we have a guy in Delhi, and we're constantly looking at kind of like all the individual markets there. So obviously Indonesia and Philippines are huge markets for Rovio. And also, if you look at kind of like the number of downloads that we have, most of those are actually from Asia, with China being the biggest market. We have some hundreds of millions of downloads in China. But I think that from the beginning, we really had the ambition to be kind of like more Chinese than the Chinese companies in China. And the same thing, you know, if you look at kind of like what we're doing in Japan, we want to be, you know, more Japanese than the Japanese companies, and we're doing a lot of kind of like local activities. So, for example, we're producing Angry Birds manga in Japan, for Japan and then for the world. So again, really making sure that we first of all, we have people, you know, so it's not like we send a lot of people from here to kind of like go to China and Japan and all of that. I mean, of course, we have some of our, you know, fellow like Finnish countrymen there, but we really try to employ local people wherever we go. But then if you look at, you know, this more Chinese than Chinese, and it really means that we need to be better, because obviously, you know, I'm not Chinese, I don't even speak Mandarin, so, you know, it's pretty difficult for me to be more Chinese than the Chinese people. But so again, we employ local people, but it's very important to understand kind of like the local customs and to do local things. And I think one of the best examples of what that means in practice is that we really need to understand Chinese culture, and you know, and we need to also understand that there is kind of like more to China than kung fu and pandas. So I mean, like, of course, you can go to China and you look around that, oh, there seems to be pandas and they are like into kung fu, so let's, you know, like build something around that. But I think that is a very superficial like understanding of Chinese culture, and I mean, like, we have a lot of Chinese people here in the audience, and I mean, I think that it's almost like an insult if you kind of like, yeah, you know, you guys are all about kung fu and pandas. I mean, there's a lot more. There's like thousands of years of history in China. So one of the things that we did already 2 years ago is that we built a very Chinese update to our Angry Birds Seasons game. So we actually built an update, an episode about the Chinese Moon Festival. So how many people here have heard about the Chinese Moon Festival? Okay, so like a few. How many here have heard about Chinese New Year? Okay, almost everybody. So actually, what happened when we then did this Moon Festival update, and actually what we did an update to the game. So, you know, if you have Angry Birds Seasons on your phone, And actually, if you don't, you should, of course, download it. And it's OK to play while I'll talk, no problem. But anyway, so in that Moon Festival episode, it has a Chinese version of the Angry Birds theme song. So you can immediately, you can hear the difference. Again, it's very Chinese. The characters, the backgrounds in the game feature very characteristic Chinese items. And then what we also did as part of this, because at Rovio, I mean, of course, we make games. We're very active on the digital side. But if you look at our business, like last year, 45% was actually physical, consumer products. So part of this Moon Festival activity that we did, we actually created Angry Birds moon cakes. So Angry Birds branded moon cakes. So moon cakes are a key part of how you celebrate the Moon Festival. So you buy, these moon cakes, and there's actually a story attached to the moon cakes. And if you look at the game, you slice the moon cakes into these slices, and the story behind there that during kind of like the some hundreds of years ago, in China, they actually used mooncakes to smuggle messages, and that's actually, you can look it up on Wikipedia. So that's kind of like how we learned about it as well when we kind of like explored, and our Chinese colleagues told us about kind of like the Moon Festival. But anyway, the end result of what we did there with the game and the physical mooncakes is that, of course, everybody in China knows about the Moon Festival, but as I just did, asked you, most of the people outside of China had never heard about the Chinese Moon Festival. So as an end result, hundreds of millions of people, first time they heard about the Chinese Moon Festival ever, through our game, through our activity. And so what I always say when I'm doing these presentations now in China is that not only are we bringing Angry Birds to China, but we are bringing China to the world. And I think that that is something that, of course, Chinese people, like all of us, we're always proud of our own culture. So we're working together with China to promote, a key part, a key festival in Chinese culture. So, so those are the kind of like things that we want to do. And we also then have worked, together with the Chinese Cultural Ministry on promoting Chinese New Year. So we did a big update around Year of the Dragon. So instead of having kind of like the Mighty Eagle character in the game, in that Chinese New Year, Year of the Dragon, we actually replaced the Mighty Eagle with the Mighty Dragon. And then we did a really cool animation to tell part of the story. We also have done comic books about Chinese New Year and China's Moon Festival, and we made those available in 40 languages. So not only like in Mandarin and English, even in Finnish, you can read about the Chinese Moon Festival. So again, this is part of like how we are trying to be more Chinese than the Chinese companies. And I think that if you look at the numbers, we are, if not the biggest, we are one of the biggest promoters and exporters of Chinese culture on the planet, which, again, I think is also appreciated by our Chinese friends. So those are like some of the things that we do in order to be successful in China. Same thing we're doing in Japan, in Korea. So we are building very specific things for those markets, but we are then taking those to the world. One thing, and I'm kind of like looking at time here, so I'm about to run out of time. One thing actually that Yami, who runs games, actually mentioned in passing yesterday was kind of like an update on some of our numbers at Rovio. And I thought that it's always good to kind of like throw some of those around. And we have actually been waiting for Slush to be able to announce that we have hit another kind of like interesting, or a couple of interesting benchmarks. So we hit 1 billion views for our Angry Birds Toons TV. So our first series has now been watched 1 billion times in 7 months, which is like pretty good. And another very interesting benchmark that we hit, or milestone that we hit actually some time ago, but we wanted to kind of like share that with you here, that we have hit 2 billion downloads of Angry Birds. 2 billion. So yeah, another year, another billion downloads. So it's what I would call a pretty good start. And this was actually the national ballet of Finland. So besides making some cool games here in Finland, we also know a thing or two about dance and music, obviously. So thought that this was something that, again, probably didn't expect to see the world's first ever like Angry Birds kind of like ballet performance or like dance performance. But anyway, so it was kind of like another historic moment here at Slush. And yeah, we hope to be back here next year with some even more amazing numbers. But yeah, it's always great to be here, and enjoy the rest of Slush. Thanks.